All right, thank you so much. The program's still much alive here on independent television. And I did tell you today that we are going to be discussing the talk on former Minister of Defense and also one-time Chief of Army Staff, General Theophilus Danjuma retired. You know, on Saturday he was in Taraba State, whereby the first convocation ceremony was held of the Taraba State University, and of course he made some statements that people, Nigerians, are reacting to, and talking about the security of Nigeria. And he said that the way it is now, it appears that Nigerians have to protect themselves. And for some people, it appears that whether we should take arms and begin to protect ourselves, or whether we still need to rely so much on our security agencies, and whether somehow there's really no need, no point to trust our security agencies anymore. So these are different, explanation and also reactions given to this statement. Well, just to let you know that you can actually follow us on the social media on this discussion this morning, and on Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook on www.facebook.com/ITVRadioNG. You need to like the page first so that you can drop your comments, and of course we'll have to see to your comments on this topic today. And of course you can also be with us on on our live website, that is www.itvradioNG.com. So you can be with us so that you just watch the program live wherever you are in any part of the world. Well, to discuss this morning, we have Bishop Akalame. You're welcome to this program this morning on ITV. Yeah. And also we're also expecting Mr. John Osazuwa to be with us on this same topic so that we can also follow his own discussions even as we go on this program today. Now, Bishop, let's hit the ground running. T.Y. Danjuma has said that Nigerians should protect themselves. I don't know, most especially he has said that for those that are not Muslims, faithfuls, Christians, that we should begin to think of how to protect ourselves. Now, what is the ready explanation that we can actually readily give to this kind of statement?
Thank you very much. It's a statement coming from an elderly man, a well-respected general, T.Y. Danjuma. What we have seen over the years, but the recent activities of the Fulani herdsmen has become worrisome in the sense that it poses a lot of economic dangers. You can begin to see rape, murder, farmlands are being destroyed by these herdsmen. You can begin to imagine a country of different ethnic groups. If we are united on common purpose, I don't think somebody will just take his cows to somebody else's farm, then destroy the crops. It does not just end there. You will not just destroy the crops. The farmers are being killed, raped. A lot of things happen. And nobody seems to be doing something about it. So if a general has come out to say, oh, defend yourself, he is not saying that you should take arms. Or maybe wherever you are going, you should take gun. That's not what he's saying. What we are saying is this. I normally say this I've said this on different forums, that the police officers, the armies, they are human beings like us. They are fresh. It's penetrable by bullets. So why do we give them so much work to do, to go and die? They have families. And we're in a country that when something happens to any security agent, what happened to the family become history. Nobody tends to know what is going on. Government will not take charge. So what Danjuma is saying is this. Each community should inaugurate security committees. that will gather security information. When we gather security information, then we can begin to defend our land with the backing of the security agencies. So, if we go to the farm, you see somebody that you see a face you have not seen before. Get hold of him, tie him down, send a message to the security agent. So you know that in collaboration, we cannot have peace in the country. It does not mean that we have to be going around with dangerous weapons to defend ourselves. That is not what T.Y. Danjuma'S is saying. In my own understanding, I think what he's saying is that every community should constitute, initiate, and inaugurate security committee that will take the security of our land in their hands, so that we can begin to have peace. Because what we are seeing now is something we have never seen before. Most times I begin to ask this question. I have asked it several. You know, I just told you, I said I was not feeling fine. If I told you why I was not feeling fine, you would be amazed. I begin to think for this country. I begin to think about the problems facing us as a nation. When the things are happening, we have leaders. They can't solve our problems. Why is it that we have leaders who cannot solve the problem of this country? Problem is created because there will be a solution. Let me tell you something. Yesterday, I don't really know what the Minister of Transport, that is the former governor of
River State,
former governor of Transport, Work and Housing, the former minister of the former governor of Lagos State, yeah. Fashola. He made a comment. I think that is not what he meant. But based on what we are facing right now in the country, people like us begin to read different meaning to what he has just said. That if the problem disappear, that we will not gather here.
Now, the thing is this: at that statement, with that statement, I think there's a part of it that actually said that most especially non-Muslim faithfuls and Christians. Now, it appears that there's this Cold War. You understand, between Christians and Muslims. I don't really know how to put it.
That is why I told you just now. You know, when I started in my inauguration, I told you, I said, come, Nigeria is made up of different ethnic groups. I said, if we are actually united on common purpose, a fellow Nigerian will not take his cow to somebody else's farm to destroy his crops. Not just destroying them, you rape, you kill. A lot of things going on. It shows that we are not united. It shows that we don't love ourselves. It shows that the one Nigeria we are preaching, it does not stand. Because if you're a Christian and I'm a Muslim and we are living together, that does not mean that we cannot live together to achieve a common purpose. My brother, the Bible says, pursue peace with all you got. Pursue peace. Because if we don't have peace, we cannot achieve anything worthwhile. And I tell you that is why today in Nigeria, we are having a lot of problems facing us like this in the face, and they refuse to disappear because the peace is not in this country. Once you are a Muslim, do you know that even now, if you want to submit your CV in some way, you are looking for a job, I have seen so many things in my life. You want to submit CVs, you put here you are a Christian, maybe your CV eventually lands somebody who is not a Christian, is a Muslim, and he has a Muslim brother who's equally submitted. Do you know that in this country, you will not be given a job just because you are a Christian? So this is what is the sentiment that is going on in the country. Sectional domination. If we continue like this, we are headed towards banana republic. Because that is what I don't want auto to. Because Nigeria is too big. This country is blessed with a lot of resources. Not just natural resources, even the human resources. If I'm not mistaken, Nigerians are in fact, they are one of the most intelligent people in the world. But what is the problem hindering us? The problem hindering us and our leaders. At times I begin to imagine if we have committed sin that God has decided to punish us with bad leaders. The bad and ugly leaders we have in the country are the factors drawing us back as a nation.
Okay. All right, viewers out there, in case you've just joined us, the program one more time is this morning on ITV, on independent television. I did tell you that you can actually follow us on the Facebook social media platform on www.facebook.com/ITV Radio NG. Already, I have about 17 comments from different parts of the country and perhaps different parts of the world on this issue today. And the program, one more time, is this morning on ITV. Headsmen attacks, and we are looking at the statements as made by the former Chief of Army Staff and former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma, retired, saying that Nigerians should protect themselves. Now, Bishop, some have said that this statement further underscores the complicit nature of our security agencies in the country. I do know that when it comes to protection of lives and properties, it has to be the police, it has to be the army when it comes to territorial protection. And of course, you have some other security agencies. Now, is it really true that our security agencies are really complicit in nature?
Complicit in what form? The only thing...
That they are not up to the task?
That's what I'm saying. I say complicit in what form? Because I don't know... do you know why you feel that the security agents are not working? The problems are so enormous. Nigeria problems are so, in fact, they are too much to handle. So even when they are doing their best, it's as if they are not working. I told you something just now that they are just human beings like us. Our leaders cannot begin to create problems. That you want a human being like you, who has the same flesh that you have, to go and die for you. They have families. They are human beings like you.
When you say our leaders cannot begin to create problems, exactly what are you talking about? Are you saying that leaders are not leaders?
What I'm saying that they create problems, this is what I'm saying. What I've discovered over the years is that our leaders, they romance our problems. They don't solve them. You know how to romance problems? You feel that you are solving it. Do you know what? Let me tell you something why most of them don't solve problems. They discover that they feel that if they solve problems, they will not have an avenue to siphon our public fund. Because if the money comes and they solve that, they find solution to that problem and the problem just vanish, there will be no avenue again to get such money that will end in their pocket. So as a result, they decide to romance the problem. So when they begin to romance the problem begin to, it will disappear and resurface. That is what you're having. So if you're talking about the security agent, they are not up to task. My brother, the police force, I ask you this question. That force is not well funded. The salary package is very poor. You will see a lot of police officers have died just because they want.
But Bishop also need to look at the corruption, in some of the security agencies.
Good. You see why I'm not too happy when
as perpetrated by some members of these same agencies, not necessarily the government this time.
If you see, the other day I heard somebody said the police officer they collect on the highway. You know what I asked them? Do you think a normal human being there's been well paid? Your welfare is there. You have a lot of things going on well with you in your profession. It's what they offer you other than you say, please don't insult me. The package is too poor. These young men, they are not being taken care of. The people you say they should go and fight, the kind of weapon they have. If you look at the one that our police officers are holding, they are not up to standard. So you are just telling them a suicide mission, go and die. Then when they go and die, the family will be there suffering. The police force should be well equipped. Increase their salaries. Give them good welfare package. Give them good housing. Give them cars. Give them good things of life. When a man wants to die for a country, you should know what he's dying for. If you are paying somebody good salary and he's living well, he's living in affluence, do you think that the same person will go to the road to check crime and will begin to collect 100 naira? It's an absurdity. It does not happen. It's because of the corruption that created by our leaders. It is not the police officer that is corrupt. It is the corruption created by our leaders. You don't pay them very well. You say they should not be corrupt. It's not the police officers that are corrupt. It's the government.
Okay.
Who created the corruption?
Yeah.
Who give room to that corruption?
Yeah, Bishop, let us really begin to look at the weights of this kind of statement now, because some have said that this kind of statement is capable of further tearing the nation apart. I mean, situation whereby people may not begin to really have trust in the security agencies anymore. And of course, if you have that kind of situation, then of course, having faith in your country may just be gone.
In my own personal perspective, I don't think that is what this statement portray. What I have seen there is that already what is going on, it has really shown that we are not even united. It is not statement like this. You see, when you see men like this coming, see, you know the relationship between Buhari and T.Y. They are so close. So it's only your friend that will tell you that your mouth is smelly. So if at this time T.Y. Danjuma have come out to say, oh, since the country, the government cannot longer defend you, defend yourself, you will know that Nigerians have been pushed to the wall. If handshake extend beyond the elbow, my brother, that's no longer an handshake. What we are seeing right now in the country with the activities of the herdsmen is an handshake that is beyond the elbow.
So wait, you said the relationship between T.Y. Danjuma and Buhari, that they are
yes,
close.
we know that it's cordial. So if your friend
Bishop,
now,
you hold on now. Are you saying that because they have relationship, that somebody has to be afraid somewhere? Is that what we're saying?
No. What I'm saying is that is to tell you that the problems now, the problem facing us, people now feel that this is the time for us to put it on the table. Let's discuss it. It's not about interest right now. Let's put relationship aside. Let's put political affiliation aside. Let's put religions aside. Now, the future of the country is what is paramount. So if people like T.Y. Danjuma, who is very close to the president, now say, oh, let's put this on the table. Let's discuss it. Let's discuss the future of our country. It shows clearly that we are gradually, if people like that up to 20 now come and say, oh, let us do this, it shows that we are gradually getting to where we are going. Because now, you have been able to jettison that relationship. Now let us say the truth, because the country, the interest of the country supersedes any political interest or any interest of individual or any interest of any relationship. Let us tell us the truth so that we can have a very viable country.
Okay, now some sections of the country that are alleged to have kind of believe in self-succession are really in support of the statement. Take, for example, the Ohanese Ndigbo. Have actually come out to hail T.Y. Danjuma's statement. And even the Afenifere group has also come out to hail T.Y.'s Danjuma's statement. Now, does this not suggest something?
Yes.
Something underlining?
Yes. You see, that's why I said, for now, we don't even to deceive ourselves. We are not together. The reason why we are still holding on like this is because maybe God has been with us. The disintegration, God does not allow it. That's why we are still together. You know what happened in the southeast? It will be before now. So when something like that, when a statement like this come up, you know that they will be happy. Because if you look at it, if you go there, you see, I don't think there's no way we cannot travel to this. These are people who are not happy. They feel that they have become slaves in their own country. They feel that they have been marginalized. They feel that they have been neglected in the scheme of things. They feel that they have not been carried along. So when a statement like this come up, they will hear the person making the statement. So why? Because the government has failed in its responsibility. When something is going wrong, what the government is supposed to do is to find out the root cause. What is the root cause of this problem?
All right, now let me relate your statement now to what is really going on in Nigeria.
Yes.
You talk about the Boko Haram insurgency.
Yes.
You talk about the Fulani cattle herdsmen, continuous attack on people. Now, what do you think that the federal government has not done? That should be done?
Good. You see, Mr. President happened to be the patron of the Fulani herdsmen.
The Miyati Allah Fulani cattle herdsmen.
That is another word. That is another word.
But that's the right word.
But let us use the word that average Nigeria understands.
No, let us use the word the way
because
it
when we're
is.
talking like this, even the market woman will not understand what they're saying.
Bishop.
Okay, it's cool.
Now,
it's
because
cool.
we have people watching.
It's cool.
The president is the patron of Miati Ale cattle headsmen. So let's leave it there.
Cattle headsmen.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Miati Allah.
What I'm still happy that in that your statement.
Anyway, just answer the question.
Okay,
so, what do you think that the federal government has not done that should be done?
Yes. What the federal government is supposed to have done in the area of herdsmen is a private business. Call them for a meeting. Let them build ranches for their business. I cannot leave my farm. Then I'll come to your farm, begin to work in your farm. If you see me there, what will you call me? You call me a thief. How will you take your business to somebody else's business?
Yeah, but the federal government the other day was suggesting a cattle colony.
No. When you're talking about cattle colony, you are telling the government, I listen to it now, that the state government has to give out land to somebody who is doing his personal business. It's so believable.
Now, considering the expanse of the catches, I mean, how big the catches are that they move around with, do you think that ranches will be big enough? Don't you think that colonies...
if we are saying we are colonies, you see, whether ranches or colonies, what I'm after is you that owns your business, go and negotiate, buy land. Buy land. Face it. Put your cattle there. Feed them. Am I going to feed your cattle for you? Am I going to give my land to you to do your business? It's a personal business. It's not a national business. It's not a government business. Why are we having headache for people's issues? They make money for this business. It's a personal business. Take for instance now, I want to build a school that you know that will yield me money. Will you give me your father's land to build on it? Say because you want to help me. You won't do that. It's a personal business. Or because I want to build a school, I will just walk into any community and begin to work on a land. I don't think they will look at me.
Yeah, but don't you also think that perhaps the greatest problem that the government has is because some have said that this Fulani cattle herdsmen issue is more of a communal problem, not necessarily herdsmen and farmers and all that. So our inability to really situate the problem, don't you think that's an issue too?
Communal crisis. What do you mean by communal crisis? What I understand by communal crisis is when you see maybe a one village or one community fighting another community. That's what you call communal crisis. What is communal crisis? Where you see some people with cows and want to just a weapon invade the community and their farmland. Is that communal crisis? I give you an instance. I have said this thing several times. You know why I say it? Because I begin to imagine what is going on in the country. When we graduated, a very good friend of mine, he decided to say, oh, after looking for a job for so many years, he said, okay, let me go into agriculture. Say the government is talking about agriculture. My brother, the father gave him a very, very big land at Aduwawa. He went into the growing of watermelon. He took loan from one of these microfinance banks. Very huge amount of money. When the tea was getting ready for harvest, he was rejoicing. He came to me with a state of ebullience. Say, Bishop, I will so be in money, I'm happy. He was even negotiating with a truck that would convey those things with him to the east. My brother, for him to go to the farm one day and discover that he has no crops anymore, he has no watermelon anymore, he said he went to report the issue in the police station. Till today, my brother, this guy is borrowing money to pay debt. He's borrowing money to pay for the loan he took to better himself, to better his life. So what are we saying? When you go to some community, you can imagine as you are here now. I can believe that you have some families in the village. Somebody will just be in the city. They will just hear a call that because somebody of your relative was in the farm, he went to do some work in the farm. It's no more. What is all this?
Okay. Now, viewers are there, in case you've just joined us one more time, the program is this morning on ITV, Headsmen Attacks, and looking at Danjuma'S call for self-defense is our focal point this morning. And I told you that this topic can really be followed this morning on the social media platform, most especially the Facebook. And for Facebook, we have www.facebook.com/ITVRadioNG. And also we'll have some other platforms there. The YouTube is also there, and also we'll have the live platform. That's you can follow us live on this topic. Well, let's see some of the comments. Some of the comments that we have already on what we are looking at today, so that you know that others are also stay following. Okay, already I told you that we have about 17 comments here, and we have this first one now that comes from Timothy Fuji Fadama, and of course it says that absolutely right for the retired general to say that every Nigerian should protect themselves because these headsmen are not here for the purpose of grazing alone. They are destructive, and if nothing is done, we are going to be there is going to be an economic meltdown. Cause right now, the farmers are not able to plant crops such as maize and cassava. The security agencies cannot do anything because they have been given directives not to do anything. That is from Timothy Fuji Fadama. Let's see some other reactions on the Facebook. And we'll have this one from Governor Yemi Adu. That's the way you call yourself here. And of course, you're saying that the former chief of staff knows what he's talking about. Because as a retired soldier, he understands the corrupt ways of the military. Danjuma is not a man that we can wish his suggestions away. He is one of the political movers and of course shakers of Nigeria. Buhari should own up and accept the fact that he has failed the nation and should be honorable and should do the honorable thing, never to even think of coming back for election in 2019. And we'll have this other one from India, Nicholas, okay, and of course it says that former chief of army staff, former minister of defense, Theophilus Danjuma, has said it all, but he needs more backup for some top heads of some top heads of the state. That's the way you put it here. And Ume Ngozi says that I support him. Nigerians should be wise. Handwriting on the wall, it's very clear. Defend yourself, because those who are purposed to defend you, those who are supposed to defend you with the enemies. Now, Bishop Bakalame, you've seen some of the reactions on the Facebook social media platform. Now, what is your take one more time on this issue?
You see people are reacting like this. You see people's comments. It shows that this government has failed.
No, you cannot say so, Bishop. Let us not say this. You cannot say this government has failed. Because no, Bishop. Now, because Bishop. Let me buttress the point. Now, let's look at it one more time. Except if we are saying that that in all of these issues that government is not making attempts. I mean, we've seen most of the attempts. The other day we saw the president going around the troubled states, not only states where cattle have been attacked. We also saw the president saying some other going to other states. Take for example, he scheduled to visit a river state and all that. So we cannot say the government has failed.
When you are not proactive as a leader, you are reactive.
Okay, now let's see these comments. Just go on.
When you are not proactive as a leader, and you only be reactive when things happen, you failed. You see, when a student...
I want to
tell something.
No, Bishop.
No, I'll give you an example. I'm not saying the government. Now, I'll give you an example.
Bishop, words are carriers of meaning.
Okay. No.
Now, you're saying that when you are not proactive.
When a man is not proactive, you react. It showed you are fed.
Now, the issue of insecurity is something that you definitely react when you find that. I mean, it's not only Nigeria that we're having this issue. I mean, people being killed, properties destroyed, even in some advanced nations. we see people being destroyed, lives gone and all that. Are you saying that those kind of governments are not proactive?
That of Nigeria is unusual. This thing is happening every day. We are seeing it every day. It's not periodic. We see this thing every day. So that's why people are now reacting this way. When something is ubiquitous. Everywhere you see killing. What the government is doing is reacting. Okay, let me give you an example. A student that failed to read his or her book, you fail to attend classes. The examination have come. You've written. You begin to look for lecturer to sort. Have you not failed? So what you are doing now, you were not proactive. You did not read. You are reacting.
All right. Now, viewers out there, I did tell you that we are expecting Mr. John Osazuwa, who is a lecturer with the Department of Political Science and Public Administration, University of Benin. Yes. And sir, you're welcome to this program this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning,
Mr. John Osazuwa. We are looking at the statements credited to General Theophilus Danjuma'S retired, saying that Nigerians should protect themselves. And before now, we've been able to establish that, he has been able to establish that the man does not necessarily mean that Nigerians should take up arms. I don't know, let's take it up from there. Let's find your own views first.
He's very legally right to make that statement that, yes, that is not the intent, the holistic intent of Danjuma, Major General Danjuma. Be that as it may, such a statement from his level of personality should not be made public. The reason being that he was a former Minister of Defense who, from his pedigree, ought to have been more equipped with how, where, and what to do about security of the nation. He has what we call access within the political system to reach the necessary apparatus, needed to curb insecurity. Danjuma has been a personality within the Nigerian government over the years. So he's more experienced, and just like what the public said about General Basenjo, that he ought not to have made that statement. There are better ways. I can recall that the state that he's from, when I was a footballer in that state in 1994, that is the state jihad took place. That is the state in the northern part of the country in which the jihadists couldn't defeat. Making such a statement in the public shouldn't, is not called for. All humans have that capability of defending him or herself. What we are finding out is that this is an unexpected threat to life that is ravaging every area of the country. And to this end, it should be internally oriented to the people to reactivate their defense mechanism, not publicly declaring it that people should take up arms and begin to defend themselves. It is true, it is very, very obvious that the herdsman has done more damages than good. But the major problem here from the academia is that we've not been able to ask the question, why are these things taking place?
Okay. Now, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria suggests that the primary aim of government is to protect lives and properties.
Very well.
Now, for us to have a constituted government in Nigeria, and people suggesting, or we are suggesting that from henceforth, that Nigerians should begin to protect themselves. The question that we then now ask is, what is now the responsibility of our government?
Basically, the functions of government is to provide security to lives and property. But many Nigerians are not aware of this lacuna in our institutional statutes. We have a constitution that provides for equity, not equality, equity among all Nigerians. But taking, for example, the Nigerian Police Act, In the northern part of the country, you have what is called the penal code. And in the southern part, you have the criminal code. Now, these codes, operated by one institution called the Nigerian Police Force, ought to propel a desired behavior, societal behavior, against deviances. In the northern part of the country, they have what is called penal code that allows them to carry certain instruments, which we call arms here. And they have been acculturated over the years to carry these arms. And we in the southern part are not acculturated to carry arms. So you find out that majority of the people in the country have, learned how to carry arms without being questioned. And here, when you take a razor blade, you are being questioned. To this end, we have a variegated societal behavior. We have a variegated societal, socio-political culture. And it behoves on the National House of Assembly to remedize this so that we can have a uniform behavior.
Okay. Now, as we continue, I think we need to re-emphasize this, that T.Y. Danjuma did not actually say that we should carry arms. What he said is that we should protect ourselves and defend our territory.
How do you defend yourself? With your teeth? Is it with your teeth? With people carrying arms? You see, from the academy.
No, but you can actually defend yourself with vigilance.
Vigilance?
Yeah. I mean, when you see anything that looks criminal,
you just want us to open the can of worms. You just want us to open the can of worms. What I'm saying is that society has been proliferated by anomia acts.
Yeah, but the gentleman, but the gentleman has not said that we should carry arms. What he's saying is that we should protect ourselves and defend our territory. So you ask how, and I tell you that with vigilance we can do that. I mean, it's working in other countries. Take, for example, in the U.S., where you have some other statesmen, retirees, they keep vigilance day in, day out. Anytime they see anything that looks criminal, they call the nearest security agencies, and it's working for them. So why can't it?
That is simply because when you call for, that is patriotism. We call it patriotism.
Yeah.
Patriotism. Patriotism is lacking in Nigeria. It's lacking in Nigeria, to a very, very large extent. We only have a few people who are patriotic. Now, when patriotism, which is love for your country, selfless services for your country, when it is being reinforced, being motivated, being encouraged by the government are part of the citizens. They should not exclude themselves from not being citizens. They were part of the citizens before they were nominated, elected, and sometimes even coerced to act and protect the citizenry. When these services, these patriotic services, is not reinforced, is not encouraged by the government, in quote, the people will become alienated. The people will become demotivated to render services, these vigilante services.
Who is to encourage that?
It is the government. For instance, when there is a criminal activity within your area and you report and you see a quick response, you'll be motivated to do that. When you see a criminal that is not within a geopolitical zone being arrested, and after a few days he's being released, you see him on the street, the man that provides that information's life will now become a threat. And with this, you are being demotivated, what we call extinguishing. They extinguish the spirit, that patriotic spirit of the citizenry. And that is what is lacking. Therefore, that services required from the citizenry in participating in good governance will now become demotivated, dilapidated, delineated, and even alienated. To this end, you have a kind of a mediating-oriented type of behavior, responses from the society. It is when the government motivates the citizen, that is when the citizen will also participate in such services. Okay. To this end, it's almost difficult. Okay.
Now, Bishop Akalame, perhaps I also need to get your own take before we go back to the comments on the Facebook portal. That the responsibility of any government is to protect lives and properties. And now that we're saying that citizens should protect themselves and defend their territory, what is now the responsibility of the security agencies, Bishop?
You know, you see, we've discussed this issue before now. It's because they are not doing their work. The government has not really given them the kind of equipment, the kind of fund to carry out their duties. That's why we now begin to see that they are failing.
Are you complaining for them?
No. You see, my brother, I am a politician who interact with the street every day.
But you're not a security agent.
No. I see what is going on. Have you not seen the kind of vehicle they use in the road? Have you not seen? That you see a vehicle that one of the diseases will be going up. It cannot even. How can they pursue armed robbers with that kind of vehicles? I saw one that day when we were going for a function. When I saw that vehicle, I began to weep inside of me. So the government have failed their responsibility. That's why at times I say we should not blame the security agents. They are human beings like us. I told you before. They don't have the kind of equipment that these people are using. You say they should go out there. They don't have the kind of vehicle that I can say within some minutes. You say they should go and die. So since we have seen this over the years, and a personality has come out to say, come on, since the government can no longer defend us, please let us defend ourselves. My brother, if you are a president or you are a governor, it's because you have people to govern. That is why you are a governor or a president. If the people are all killed, and I believe that you are not going to be the governor of cows, you are going to be governor of goats. If the people are not there, there will be no need for government. My brother, the major reason why we have government is to do for the people what the people cannot do for themselves. So, I am not in support of carrying arms. That's why I told you that the statement made by this personality does not mean that we should be taking arms. What he's saying is that we should learn how to defend ourselves, that each community should constitute a security work committee. I told you before. That will not gather what security information. Liaise with the security agencies. When you see a straight face, tie it down, call the security agent. My brother, I was driving down to my place, Auchi. When I got to bypass that what do you call that bridge there? My brother, I saw people that I've never seen before. And they don't look like Edo people. On that bridge there, there were so many. I stopped. I said, who are these people? They say, they are from the north. Oh. From the north? I know we are in one country. But when people begin to troop in like this, there's need for the government to be proactive. Know what is going on. Then I was going to Onitsha by the right like this. I saw a large crowd of people. What are they doing? They say they are workers. They are from the north. I want to send a very strong message to the governor of Edo State that he should wake up and be proactive. This is our state. So that we begin to look around. So that we begin to, it should be proactive. This is how it all started. When you begin to see stray faces in your area and we don't do something about it, before you know it, it metamorphoses to something we can no longer control.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jonas as well, yes. Just as we begin to, before we see more messages on the Facebook portal, I think we also need to look at the operations within our security agencies. Take, for example, the Nigerian Army. I mean, sometime in 2011, there was an operation whereby a certain, I can't remember the names now, a certain Nigerian Army man was accused to have given information, leaked out information, and that led to something that was not quite successful for such operation. Now, you discover that at times there are allegations, there are reports of security agencies leaking out information, even in this fight of fighting against the Boko Haram, fighting the Fulani headsmen, there are allegations at times that some security agencies just leak out information. So before we really continue to blame the government that the government is not doing enough, I think we also need to look within the security agencies, their operations.
First of all, I had said earlier on that we have not asked the reason why these things are occurring. It is within our own demand from the academia to begin to ask. before this time, let's ask ourselves.
Now, you are from the academia. What is the reason? Let's get to know.
Yeah.
Before you...
Before now, we've asked questions, and I have asked questions. Were there relationships or the presence of these herdsmen, cattlemen, we call them cattlemen, Fulani, that is Malams, and their cow, within our communities over the years? The answer is categorically yes. There have been a harmonious relationship between the communities and these people, simply because of the socio-economic relationship, socio-economic effect to the people. Where has things fallen apart? Where is the center no longer holding? Who are now in charge? Who are now the owners of these cows? My dear brothers, we all know. People from our places have sold lands to these people to come and harbor their cattle. 1. 2, majority of the elites are now the owners of these cattle. They better not take it over. The pre-existence of this contemporary situation. It is the owner of the means of production that determines how it ought to be protected.
So in this case now, are you saying that the owners of the cattle we have in Nigeria now kind of fueling the crisis?
They are a factor, a very strong factor. Very strong factor. I'll give you an example. Obem, precisely, in the realm of local government. They sold a parcel of land. I'm from that area, Mounahua. From that area, they sold a parcel of land to herdsmen. And it's an oil producing area. You have some Hausa-oriented military men there. These cows and cattle have been ravaging the farms. They killed and raped and maimed people. The villagers reacted. Do you know the law enforcement agency there rode and destroyed the people? They said, what was the agitation? Because I'm also the speaker of the Youth Congress. They went there. What was their grievances? They have paid for this land. And some personality within that locality said they can graze wherever they like. And some of them are the owners of these cows. What do you not do? What do you not do?
So what did you do?
What we did was not to see how to reconcile. They said the years they paid for must be completed. They are not living. And they are still there. What we now have to do is to establish a cordial relationship between the leaders, the owners of these cattle, and the commoners. You have age grades, you have different institutions, age grades, market people, and other things. We have to now reconcile them. What we need now is to reconcile. The Nigerian security institution is overstretched. It's overstretched right now. It's overstretched. And it's an age-long problem. What all Nigerians, what I also expected from Danjuma, like what Bishop is saying, is that we should now begin to rethink on how best we can harmonize. First, they provide staple meat for us. That is the basic thing. 2, they provide, these cattle is where we get our milk from. This is where we get our milk from. What we should be doing is that proactiveness, in quote, should be amplified to how we can establish a better relationship with them and how to determine who actually armed them, who give them this arm. If there was a relationship, a harmonious relationship between these people and us before now, what went wrong? How did it go wrong? These are human problems. They can only be resolved by humans. To this end, that you collaborate with the security agencies. Let us empirically, this is with due respect, because I preach and I promote patriotism. Check our stations. Who heads them? They are from the north. And you want them to kill their people, to arrest their people? No. The best option is for us to establish how to reconcile the differences. There are great differences. There are great differences. The harm has been done in the past. These Fulani, Hausa Fulani people that are carrying this, they are humans. There are people from the south that can speak Hausa, that can speak Fulani. Let us see how to establish a relationship, a better relationship. We cannot go to war because of Hausa Fulani. We cannot destroy our country because of Hausa Fulani. Let us see how to identify those people from the south. Who owns these cows? Who owns these cattle? Who has employed? Where did they get these people that are controlling their cows and cattle? Where did they get them from? Is it because they are elites? Elite is a continuous process. People downtrodden today can become an elite. Can become an elite. To this end, how do we reconcile? That is my concern. That is our concern within the academia. And I think we are working on that.
Well, that's quite touching there, Jonas, as well. Let's see some of the reactions still. And still on Facebook, we have this one from Osasco JP, and it says that protecting yourself is not a bad statement, but what is the motive of your protecting yourselves? Please, this statement is not the problem of this country. And we have Harrison in Gbale. T.Y. Danjuma is more experienced than most of us, so I support what he said. And if Mfayumba, writes that if General T.Y. Danjuma'S information is taken for granted, Nigeria will live to regret it. And we also have some that says that this one from Elvis Wombu, it says that he just said the fact. Every citizen has to protect himself. That is, every citizen have for self-defense. Isa Ibrahim Imam, what Danjuma said is not good for the citizens of this country. And we have Ebenezer Ben that says that I am not in support. I am not in support with it. Let every person in Nigeria defend his or herself. But you said you are not in support. All right. We have this one from ID Tony. It says that technically Danjuma is right because he has been an accomplice in a previous pogrom. Okay. Well, I don't know what you mean by that. Now, gentlemen, as we begin to wrap up this discussion segment now, though we have suggested how best we can really end this issue, because for some time now it's been on, this Fulani cattle herdsmen crisis in the country has been on. Though Jonas as well has suggested that we should be thinking of how to coexist, if I got what you said, Now, what is your own suggestion on a more serious note, Akalame?
The issue is that the open grazed land is no longer there because of the awareness of agriculture.
Yes.
People now, those days people don't go to farm. Now you can even graduate and go to farm. So the land are no longer there.
But so, even the cattle rearing is also part of agriculture.
You see, I told you just now that if you are doing your business, when you take your business to encroach in my business, you are looking for trouble. Exactly. I told you before. So what I wanted to do is that let them build ranches. Do something for your business. You understand what I'm saying right now? So if you can no longer feed your cows via those areas, this open grazing land, because of the awareness of agriculture, build ranches. Put your cattle there. University of Benin have cattle now. Am I lying?
Yes.
Are they coming out?
No.
They're not coming out now.
No. This is a rational institution.
I have got to almost all the university academies in this country, except you name it. They don't have cattle. Yes. They don't come outside.
But I think we also need to speak to some of these issues, because this idea of, take for example a citadel of learning, also engaged in cattle business. Is that not an anomaly?
No.
From the investor.
That's agriculture. That's agriculture.
Except if they are using it for maybe parts of their programs.
Yeah, for programs.
Okay.
Now, like what he said, you see, ranching, this is where the proactiveness is talking about comes into play. And the proactiveness is, we are operating the federal system. Now it's going to be in two forms. The state government, like he said, the various state governments should come out through their state House of Assembly. They should not shy away from the fact that they are not aware of what is happening. It is not when 1 or 2 or 3 have been killed. Do you know how many have been killed that are not identified? That have been made that are not identified? That hoods and means of livelihood has been destroyed that have not been identified? They should design a particular area, just like University of Benin. We have cattle. They are very friendly with the students. They don't fight students. They don't attack students. They are there. The students snap with them. And you also see a kind of culture whereby you see these bells, on top of the cows.
Is it a school that owns those cattle or a certain individual?
No, school. It's not certain individuals. The university is an institution whereby people begin to, in the public parlance, individual. No, it's
but there are allegations that those cattle are being owned by a certain individual.
No, it's a school. Faculty of Agriculture. No. Faculty of Agriculture. Now, the National Assembly, with a great sense of humor, they have, let me say, they have disappointed Nigerians greatly for not speaking intensively, both houses, intensively on how best to resolve this issue. Simply because I believe, the way I have grown over the years, this is the richest, the most robust National House of Assembly, where you have former governors, former senators, former House of Assembly members, former generals composing this National Assembly. It ought to be more robust than any other assembly to articulate and aggregate issues that are affecting the insecurity and security of the lives of the people and the nation. The National Assembly should appeal to the various governors. It is as a result of this lack of appeal. That is why governors like Fayose said, we don't want grazing. We don't want herdsmen in our state. It is dialogue. They should learn how to have courtesy, dialogue. Dialogue. This is a federating state. We are a federating nation. They should dialogue with the various state government. And state government should also dialogue with the various local government. Lands are diminishing for cattle rearing, simply because of increase in agricultural activities and what we call spatial development. Spatial development. People are not developing areas, building schools, building hotels, and building houses. These areas are diminishing, just like what the bishop says. Identify with the government, various government, discuss with them. National Assembly, don't coerce the state government to enforce grazing areas. Liaise with them, discuss with them. And when you discuss with them, areas will be created for such grazing. And also, the various ministries of information, all the rest, the security agency, should identify on how best to know these people. The elites knows these people. It's only the proletariats that do not know these people that are committing this act. If you allow the proletariats to begin to identify, they will look for these owners and these people forcefully, and that will create anarchy. And that is what myself and Bishop do not want. We do not want anarchy.
It is the elites. The elite, they have a great role to play.
Bishop will be able to answer because it's an elite society, of course. Bishop, don't the elites have a great role to play?
They do.
All right, just before we go, lastly, you talked about the National Assembly, and that just popped another question in my mind. I read also that some members of the National Assembly are also in support of TY's call for self-defense. Perhaps in another couple of weeks, we may begin to see some bills, moving for a call for self-defense in the country, and that may also want...
Thank you very much. This is where I would disagree with my friend. You see, I normally say this, and I think it has generated a lot of debates wherever I go. I said, this is the only National Assembly I've seen that have always impressed me. Very vibrant. It's not emasculated like we used to have those days, where they are being tied to the April string or the presidency. They can't take decision on their own. If they want to do, they will be flexed. Before you know it, there will be U-turn. This is, in fact, their activities always put me in excitement mood.
But I think we also need to exercise caution.
Do you know why?
Because because I remember the Peace Corps Bill 1 and the shift of election dates 1. Now, as we speak, we understand that some of the members are divided. So it's going to probably be a difficult thing for them to override the veto of the president.
You see, yesterday it was clear. They had the meeting yesterday. You watched it. That where they said that majority of them are being bribed to ensure that it did not work. They said nothing like that. So they said they were even mentioning figures.
We don't expect them to.
We don't use the word bribe. This is a media bribe.
It's an allegation. It's an allegation.
So they said that they were even measuring figures. You can imagine. So they have come out to say that they set up a committee to investigate and bring them back a report on how this report come about. That there's nothing like that. Because if I see the National Assembly, they are more united, if you don't know, irrespective of their political affiliation. They are united on common purpose.
Yeah, but how come at times when you expect them to
are they not united on these herdsmen killings?
No.
That is my concern.
If you look at it, what is the function of the National Assembly? What's the function?
The functions, you want to know the functions? The functions is to articulate, that is identify.
Yes.
And bring together the various issues.
Yes.
Issues is not problem.
Okay.
It is when issues become pluralized. That is when it becomes a problem. That now becomes the concern of the National Assembly. Insecurity by herdsmen is a big problem, a quote, a big problem, capital letter, a big problem that should keep the National Assembly members on the seat every day to discuss on how best they make the laws that the executive implements. I want to state this. Now, the Nigerian Constitution, just like every other constitution, Chapter 4 of it, in every democratic constitution, gives the right to the National Assembly as the first arm of government, to bring about good governances. They are to formulate policies, rules and regulations. The second chapter, chapter 5, is for executive. That is the laws, the rules and regulations made by the National Assembly or State House of Assembly is to be implemented by the executive. Then chapter 6 is for the judiciary. That is when there is a lacuna, a deviancy, or traverses. That is when the judiciary now comes in. That is why in every country, when Obama, for instance, speaks out of point, the Congress comes out to say, no, this is the right point. This is our agenda. We know the problems of these people. They know the problem. That is why in the House of Assembly, you have House of Rep representing a particular area. In the State House of Assembly, you have people representing this particular area. They are to identify the various problems in this area. And this will now lead to the formulation of rules and regulations. We need better rules and regulations to curb these herdsmen. They are Nigerians. They are Nigerians.
You just said something. You see, that is what an ideal society is supposed to be. You get what I'm saying?
Why can't we be ideal? Are you not an ideal man?
No, wait. When you cannot tell me that I'll be watching. If you'll be watching their plenary, you discover that there's never a time that the issue of herdsmen has not been discussed in the floor, both in the Senate and the House of.
What are their recommendations?
Yeah, I think, gentlemen, we'll have to. Yeah, because
a lot of recommendations have they give.
Okay, all right, gentlemen.
You see, for over the years now, the president have been mute over the activities of the herdsmen. A set of research. So that's why I said he's not being proactive, he's reactive.
Okay. All right, gentlemen.
No. I want to say this before we close.
This is ongoing.
I want to say this before we close. You know, this is my state. And I love my state. That is why I'm here in the state. That's why I'm not living in Lagos. You see, I'm living in Benin. I love the state. The governor said the other day that the herdsmen should not graze at night.
Well, let us.
And they should graze in the daytime.
And they're doing that.
No, I want to advise him. I want to advise him. I want to advise him because it's my political classmate. I want to advise him. Our farmers, they don't go to farm at night. They go to farm in the day, and it is the day that most of them are being raped, killed, and their farm crops are being destroyed.
Okay, all right, gentlemen.
So that is the advice.
Thank you so much for finding time to join this issue today. To speak your mind, a very big thank you to you.
Thank you very much.
You can extend the as well. Well, issues are ongoing, and for those that dropped their comments on the Facebook portal, a very big thank you to you. And let's just see how things will get better in this country as are concerned here. We'll take a short pause now so that other segments will come here. We'll stay tuned.